Hi everyone. Today I decided to create, using the Simon Says Stamp December card kit that I have, I wanted to do something with the 3D decoupage that's in the kit. So I found online, and she happened to have a YouTube channel as well and video on how to make a 3D shadow box, and her box actually happened to fit pretty much perfectly for the size of the main image of the decoupage. So this is kind of like old school decoupage, but in papercraft terms, but not in like original terms, if that makes sense. So you're creating like a three-dimensional image out of different layers, and each layer that you layer is slightly smaller than the last one, so it gives you that three-dimensional, almost like a pyramid kind of thing, so it's coming out of the page. So on these sheets, there's 5 sheets. I'm going to use 3 of them for this project. And as I put the 3D boxes frames together, I put the images inside first and then built the frame around it. It was just easier that way. So once I've done that, I then decided to take all the layers out, and it will tell you on the sheets which layer goes next. So you have layer 1, which is your main square with the full image on it, and then you have layer 2, which is the next size down, and they get smaller and smaller as you go. So the little foam pads also come in the kit, and I have to say that there's 3 of them that I use in this video, and then the other 2 pages I use in the next video. And the foam pads there were a few left over, so I just used them. I just filled in the gaps and used them. But there's more than enough for these little foam pads to do all 5 of these 3D decoupaged as decoupage layers. Obviously you can break it down, and you can use the main image as one little card and jazz it up with some bling and stuff, and then use the 3D element part of it as a separate card or tag or something like that. So you could break it down into bits if you wanted to, but I wanted to create like a whole decoration that we could hang out each year. So what you do is you take layer 2. Layer 1 is the main image, and then layer 2 is the next one down. So you just kind of find key places on the image the layer that you've got, to line it up. And once you line it up, it's so easy, it just goes. So it's very simple to put together. Just getting some more foam pads on the back of the next layer. And I wasn't shy with the foam pads either. I just went with it. I thought, worst case, I run out of them, and then I've got my own foam pads that I can then use if I needed to on one of the other ones. But like I say, there was more than enough, which is great. Some of them there were some areas that I had to cut the foam pads in half just so that they would fit a bit better, but that's not a big deal. Mostly they fit on really, really well. So just taking each little piece and layering them up. I can't talk. But like I say, very easy to do. So these 3 were kind of like the indoor ones, the indoor images. So I thought they lent themselves really well. Excuse my head. I thought they lent themselves really well to the to being one decoration. It'll hopefully make more sense in a bit. So the first one, she's sorting out all the letters and writing back to all the little kiddos and the big kiddos probably. And this next one, this is the elf that's in the like the workshop. So he's making the toys and getting them wrapped and all that sort of thing. And then the third one is where they're under the tree, and you'll see that image in a bit. So again, I'm just taking all the layers out and just lining them up on my work surface so that I have them roughly in order. Once you get used to this, it's really quite straightforward and really an easy thing to layer. You can kind of see what you need to layer next, going by the images that you have. But I like to lay them out just so I start off in the right place, because knowing me, I'll stick the wrong layer on. But like I say, once you lay them out, it's quite easy, just work in order and you'll be fine. Or leave them in the sheet and do it that way as well. But this was just easier for me, I thought. And I thought this would be nice for those who don't know how to do this, to just see how this goes together, which is why I haven't sped this up too much. I will say that working inside the 3D box was harder than my next video, where the piece I'm working on is flat. So it was a little more difficult to get, not end of the world difficult, but a bit more difficult to get inside that box to see where I was lining up. So, but not, obviously not undoable. That's not even the right word. But anyway, and my cat's scratching at the door. So, and the husband's, if you can hear that, he's shouting at him. Not shouting, but you know what I mean. So that's kind of funny and annoying at the same time when I'm doing a voiceover. Anyway. So last few pieces for this layer, and I do forget one. I forgot his scarf, so I will go back and I'll show you. You'll see me do that in a minute. And like I say, some of them I had to cut down in half just to make them fit on some of the pieces, but wasn't, you know, they were easy to cut and they stuck really well as well. I thought they were really good adhesive. So just getting the little ones on, because at this point I can see what pieces I've got left and where they're going to layer, so I knew that I could just go ahead and layer. This one had an extra little prezi, the one right in the front, layered up as well, so you know, if I'd stuck it the other way around, I would have had to pull the little prezi off and put the bigger piece on first. So, and there's the second box, and it creates this lovely little dimensional frame. You could also put a stand on the back of this and just have them standing on like a mantelpiece or something like that, if you wanted to. And that would work really well. Here's the scarf that I forgot. And yeah, that would work really nicely as little decorations at Christmas. I didn't like decorate the outside of the frames too much, if at all, but I reckon you could add all sorts of stuff to the edges of those frames. I just wanted something quite simple, and also just a really quick and easy project that you could put together in very little time really, and have a cute decoration. So this is the one where the elf's got she's decorating the tree and there's little ornaments and a couple of presents and things. So I just felt like these were all the indoor ones, that they go together nicely, so that's why I decided to put them together as one decoration. And then in the next video you'll see, if you watch that one, and I would love you to, then you'll see that I do something different, because the other two are outside images. But these are all really, really sweet images. They work really well for little cards or note cards or tags. You could use them as tags. Nicole Spore actually made them into tags, and I thought they were really cute. Such a clever idea. And again, just taking the layers out so I can see which one goes next. Just made it easier for me. These were also really easy to pop out of. They had like little, what do they call them in the old days? Like little pips, I guess, where there's just little areas that are holding on with, you know, where it's not being cut through. So you just sort of pop that bit out, and pretty easy to pop them out. But you can always use a pair of scissors in between those little, I think they used to be called pips. I don't know. I can't remember. When this was huge. When I first started crafting, this was a massive thing. Everybody decoupaged everything within an inch of its life. So So just getting the next layer on. Again, really easy. And these are the Made by Elves Craft Consortium, I believe. That came in the Simon Says Stamp December card kit for 2021. So I know I'm running a little late, but these things happen. You've seen my previous video with the unboxing, you'll know why. So, it's not the end of the world. At the end of the day, I like to share more than one project with you guys anyway. So even if you've got this kit now and obviously Christmas is done, then you either have supplies for next year or you can just start really early. And I think good on you. So, you can never start too early, I think, with something like Christmas. But it's winter still and that sort of thing, so it's nice. It's such a cute set as well, and I love the colours. The colours are amazing. And there's the third one. So now what I wanted to do was, because this was going to be a decoration, I wanted to get them in the order I thought they would work best. And then I'm taking some, this is actually, it took me ages to work out which colour ribbon. This is just some ribbon I have in my stash. So use what you have. And I am just using this, it's actually a pink. I mean, it looks pink on there, but it is like a bright pink. But it worked really well with the colours that are in all the images. So what I'm doing is I'm lining them upside, I'm putting them on their face down, and making sure I've got them all in the right direction, so they're not upside down, because that's the sort of thing I do. And then I'm just lining them all up together. And I know this is going to look a bit odd to start with. Now you could leave them together like this, sort of butted up against each other, but I wanted a gap between them. So this is just to get some double-sided adhesive on the back. Just so I have a line on each one roughly where I'm then going to need to put the ribbon. So they look cute like that, but I wanted a bit of a gap between each one. So I then decided to just take some scissors and cut the tape in between, and that way I've got a one layer of tape on there. And this is Lawn Fawn's 1/4 inch double-sided tape, and it's really quite a strong tape, but you would need something strong when you're making something like this. As it turns out, because I made this a couple of days ago, oh no, yesterday I made it, well, not yesterday to you guys, but you know, anyway. And when we had a bit of a crash this morning and it had come loose, so when you're using this, the back has stayed intact with this tape, but the loop at the top, I need to add a bit more reinforcement or maybe a bit of wet adhesive to really get it to stick well. So at this point I put extra tape just because the ribbon is wider than the tape itself. So I thought that would help to hold it in place. And then I'm doing this sort of loop at the top, and I'm going to actually stick that to the tape and use some tape to stick it together. And this is what I say, my loop came undone, but it's fine, I can stick it back together, it's not a big deal. But I would use maybe a wet adhesive instead, and that should hold it really well. And also, if you think about it, because it's hanging, it's the weight of it that I think is why it didn't stick, because otherwise this tape is really good for that. For holding things like on your cards and your boxes and things like that. It's fantastic. So I'm trying to get sort of an even, somewhat even in between each of the boxes. And I then decided to cut that piece of ribbon. It just wasn't lying flat enough. And you need this fairly flat at the back, I think, so that when it's against the wall, you know, when you hang it up, it'll lie as flat as possible. And then I will stick this tape over the top, and they kind of stayed where they were supposed to, so it worked out pretty well. And I'm using the dots. I thought the dots were kind of fun, so I'm using it that side up. And again, I'm just adding some extra adhesive here. You could also at the back, and I may still do this, is at the back cut some slightly smaller than that size square of cardstock and just adhere that there, and that will also sandwich the ribbon in, and that will help to hold it in place. I was trying to do a fishtail and I cut it the wrong way. So basically you fold your ribbon in half, and then depending which angle you go at, and obviously I went the wrong way, you will end up with a fishtail sort of decorative edge. People used to do this all the time as well in the old days, like it's so long ago. I was going to use some ribbon at the top as well, and that just wasn't working with my loop, so I just dragged out some twine, which I was going to use anyway, and decided to just add a little bow onto it. So just doing a normal, and there's way too much twine here, but just doing like a square knot, and then I will loop it into a little bow, just so it's a little bit of something at the top there. Like I say, you could do so much more with the outside edges of the you know, around the frames themselves, or you could use a different color cardstock to make the frames, and that, you know, could be your decoration, or different, you know, you might be able to figure out how to put some, you know, paper just around the edges, or, you know, that sort of thing, so you've got some pattern on there. And the other thing that you could also do is, and I may go back and do this, is also to add some bling to the images, just to bling them up a bit. And my husband actually suggested that maybe putting some acetate over the front, and then decorating around the top so you don't see where the acetate is glued down, just to protect the actual little images. You know, just added protection for them. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. I hope this was just a nice idea if you've got the December Simon Says Stamp 2021 card kit. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye.